Over the course of the next 2 weeks, all eyes will be on the Sistine Chapel, as tonight cardinals across the world begin to make their way to the Vatican to pay their respects and start the process of picking a new pope. This centuries-old tradition known as a conclave, rooted in secrecy, and will see cardinals locked away from the outside world.
There's no reporters in the room. There's no news alerts of, this is what was said in the conversations.
The whole world will be on standby.
The Pope is dead.
For a process so intriguing that it even recently garnered the attention of Hollywood in the Academy Award-winning film Conclave.
We're about to choose the most famous man in the world.
There's no time limit or deadline, meaning the cardinals will have as long as they need, casting their votes up to 4 times a day until a 2/3 majority is reached. A decision that only took 2 days in 2013 for Pope Francis.
Habemus Papa.
In his 12 years as pontiff, Francis installed dozens of new cardinals, making the makeup of this conclave much different than in the past, with most of the men electing the new pope hailing from Latin America, Asia, Africa, and Oceania, and raising questions on if this conclave will pick someone closer to Francis set to carry on his more progressive ideals, or a more conservative choice looking to reverse.
The hope, of course, is that it will not be a matter of politicking, but instead that it is all guided by the Holy Spirit for what best serves the church.
And when the cardinals have made that decision, it will be clear, with black smoke signifying no pope yet, and white smoke signaling a new era is upon us. On your side, Andy Payton, Channel 2 News.
Today, let's be grateful for the beautiful legacy, the agenda, the blueprint that Francis gave us in being disciples of Christ.
After the faithful gathered at Christ the King Chapel this afternoon to celebrate Mass, Father Fred Betty recalled the day 12 years ago that a Jesuit cardinal from Argentina was elected pope.
I was at Canisius High School in my office as campus minister, and all the students come running in, we have a Jesuit pope. And I'm like, no, that can't happen, because in our rules, we're not allowed to aspire to a church office like that, especially pope, although we have to be accepting of God's will.
As a Jesuit priest, Father Betty says it was easy to relate to Pope Francis as a member of the same order.
Reaching out to the poor, the needy, the marginalized, the disenfranchised, incorporating the lay people into the church, women, to bring them into the church, the importance of people learning about Christ. Those are all things that are important to us as Jesuits.
The president of Canisius University says Pope Francis should be remembered as a pope who brought people together.
The leadership of the church almost follows a pendulum, and so Francis is very different than Benedict, and so I hope that the leaders of our church select a pope who will continue on this path of reconciliation, of hope, but I expect that there will be some modification in who his successor is and how they approach leadership of the church.
What I would hate to see happen, I pray it doesn't happen, is that somehow people decide it's time to retreat and go backwards in history and time. We don't need to do that. He gave us an agenda for the future, and the church always has to be forward-thinking. So we want to carry on his legacy in that way.
And this is a development that has been at least 5 years in the making. That's when the Diocese of Buffalo first declared bankruptcy after facing more than 900 claims of child sexual abuse by Catholic priests. Now, after what many say was an excruciating 5-year process, there's an end in sight for survivors. Neither side is talking because they are under a court-ordered confidentiality order, but Two on Your Side obtained an email sent from lawyers to the survivors they represent that said a $150 million settlement has been reached. That number is less than survivors wanted, but still the second largest amount among Catholic dioceses in New York State. This $150 million figure does not include money from insurance companies that issued policies to the diocese. Lawyers say they plan to allow this settlement to move forward and go back and negotiate separately for more money with those companies.
It was a very emotional email. It was, I knew that there would still be other steps, but to hear after this process that I've been through, and I know survivors who've been through it a lot longer than I have, it really means a lot to me that there was a first step. And I'd like to commend the judge because I think that he was a big part of let's get this moving.
Now, it's important to say here that this settlement still needs to be approved by a federal bankruptcy judge and could be discussed as early as Tuesday morning. This, of course, all began with the scandal that exploded in 2018 when survivors began to come forward and aides to then Bishop Richard Malone exposed an ongoing cover-up of abuse allegations. That led to the passage of New York's Child Victims Act and the diocese declaring bankruptcy in 2020. On your side, Charlie Speck, Channel 2 News.
It may look like just another quiet street in the town of Niagara.
Pull all the way over.
But when the sun goes down, many bikes come out.
They're blowing through stop signs. They're weaving in and out of traffic. They're passing vehicles as they're driving in the roadway. Just creating a very, very unsafe environment, like it's a game of chicken.
This stretch runs from Packard Road, which gets a lot of traffic, all the way down to the train tracks. It's become a shortcut for kids on illegal mini bikes, many of them unlicensed and unregistered.
We're talking, 5 to 6 calls a day sometimes, depending on, how good the weather is, how nice it is outside.
Town of Niagara Police Chief Craig Gugliani says it's not just dangerous, it's illegal. The town's fine is a staggering $2,500.
The county also has their own, and that's a $250 minimum fine, along with the tow fee, and that's another $250.
Officers say they're not trying to punish kids, but the risk is growing. In some cases, up to a dozen of them riding at once.
And the way that the complaints come in is that they don't see them to the last minute.
Police acknowledge there aren't many options for teens around here, but they say it's on the parents to step in.
If the child can't be held accountable, we're going to hold the parents accountable. The biggest thing is to prevent a child from getting killed.
In a 4-page ruling released Tuesday, U.S. District Court Judge Lawrence Velardo denied a motion submitted by the attorneys of top shooter Peyton Gendron that sought to dismiss the government's notice of intent to seek the death penalty in the federal case against him. Back in November, attorneys for Gendron filed a motion to dismiss because they alleged that there was abuse of the grand jury process by federal prosecutors. Specifically, they argue that the prosecutors' questions covered a, quote, wide range of topics having no relationship to the charges under consideration by the grand jury. We don't know the specifics of the grand jury questions because they are under seal by the court and not publicly available. But Judge Velardo's ruling offers some details. Questions about whether Gendron had, quote, learning, physical, emotional, or mental disabilities, and, quote, whether he seemed to be racist. Attorneys for Gendron argue that the questioning was designed to explore and preemptively rebut some common categories of mitigation. In their response to the motion, attorneys for the U.S. government say they probed only, quote, legitimate areas of inquiry during grand jury questioning. Judge Velardo agreed that the questions asked of the grand jury were within the scope of their authority. In his ruling, Judge Velardo called the motion to dismiss by Gendron's attorneys, quote, inapt, and denied it. Separately, on April 1st, Gendron's attorneys filed a motion to change the venue of the trial to the Southern District of New York, citing that it would be difficult to have a diverse and impartial jury if the trial was held in Buffalo. On your side, Nate Benson, Channel 2 News.
Cancer gotta beat me. I don't gotta beat cancer.
Dakari Jackson Jr. is 17. 2 months into his senior year, he had a fever, wasn't eating, and tired.
By the time I got to the hospital, I was no longer able to walk.
He was diagnosed with acute B-cell leukemia.
I thought I was about to die. But, God had other plans. You know what I'm saying? My parents stuck by my side the whole time, so I had no other choice but to have faith.
Up until then, he was playing sports, doing what teens do. But life changed.
Well, I'm at home, sitting with my mom and my dad, taking treatments.
His fight is the family's fight.
My hardest point was telling my son when he asked me, is he going to be okay? And I don't know. But I got to say yes.
And as the saying goes, when it rains, it pours.
On top of him being diagnosed with cancer, 3 months in, I get a call from my boss.
His company was shutting down.
I've been at a job for 24 years. So now, not only do I got a son that's sick, I'm also dealing with being unemployed on top of having a autistic son at home.
A fundraiser will be held at Dakari School.
Financially, it's hard. It's hard. It can actually deplete everything you have, but you can't put a price on a life.
His son's life is precious.
So just a year you pray for it, you know. But I got hopes of going to prom, got hopes of walking the stage for graduation if treatment's going well.
His father already had him measured for his tux.
It's getting emotional talking about it, but
Dakari has 2 years of treatment. As a Bills fan, he's received support from Dawson Knox. And as his shirt says, brave battles, a journey with Dakari.
I will ask Congress to support baby bonuses for young parents to help launch a new baby boom.
Baby bonuses, something hinted at by now President Trump in this 2023 video from Forbes. And now a new report from the New York Times is looking into the Trump administration's apparent plans to make it happen. Just some of the ideas being pitched reportedly include a, quote, baby bonus of $5,000 to mothers after delivery, and other proposals including government-funded programs to educate women on their menstrual cycle. One local organization says all new moms could at least benefit from a financial boost.
Despite what people think, the moms spend it very wisely.
Luann Brown is the president and CEO of the Buffalo Prenatal and Perinatal Network. Her organization is working to close the health equity gap amongst families with programs like the Bridge Project.
They kind of did it by lottery, and they had to be at certain gestational ages before they could, if they could sign up. But the idea was that they would give them money.
She says that the investments could possibly be better used by organizations already working within communities.
I mean, it's not a horrible way to invest in money, but I think there's a lot of community-based organizations like ours that do this work already. They could give nonprofits more money to do it.
Michelle Sterlesa-Corsi is with Feminists Choosing Life of New York. She's on board with all of the ideas being proposed.
Families are suffering in New York and nationwide. And so we all need to really come together, pro-choice, pro-life, all folks that are interested really in children.
Both have a vision for what the modern family unit needs most.
I think providing a stable home is like number one, because that's what everybody achieves, right? Everyone aspires to that, right?
There is such a slew of policies, right? We would like to see child support begin from the moment of fertilization.
We're spending 4, 6, 8 hours a day on screens. Then why don't we take a couple hours to get off of our screens, put the phone away?
After seeing similar clubs take off in Europe, Henry Race decided to launch the Offline Club of Buffalo.
Have you done anything in your own life to reduce your phone usage? Have you done those restrictions on the apps, or do you look at the screen time thing?
Somewhat. I used to be a little bit more diligent about it. I mean, one thing that changed my life was before bed, putting my phone across the hall. So I can't be scrolling at night or in the morning, and I have to get up out of bed to go get the alarm.
The club met for the first time last week at the Bicycle Bottle Shop in the Elmwood Village. It opened earlier this year and sells bicycles, accessories, and zero-proof beverages.
To have a space where we can have drinks and socialize that wasn't necessarily based around alcohol in that kind of environment, having other community events here and having like the physical space to host a dozen or more people. Just seemed like the right space to start this project.
They started with an hour of just hanging out. Some people were coloring, and the second hour focused on deeper conversations.
What chapter of your life are you in, or like what's something you're trying to let go of in your life right now to provoke like some deeper conversation and deeper connection?
Phones were checked at the door. Henry says the group even came up with more ideas for activities from playing board games to going on bike rides and hosting a poetry night.
Did you notice people getting nervous because they didn't have their phone with them, or they'd like check their pocket to see and their phone wasn't there?
There was a couple, most people did pretty well. There wasn't really a lot of nerves and stuff, but there was a couple moments where people went to like, I don't know if it was take a picture or check a message or something and didn't have the phone, and it was like, oh. And what was really nice was that they were able to let go. Like it was maybe a little bit of nerves, but more relief. They're like, oh, you know what? I don't even have to worry about this right now.
It's kind of freeing.
Yeah.
There is nothing like supporting a small business and cracking open a new book.
It's so joyful. It's really fun.
Saturday is National Independent Bookstore Day, and local stores have teamed up to celebrate and reward customers for shopping small with the Buffalo Bookstore Passport.
You go, you pick up a passport at any bookstore, and then you go around and get it stamped.
This is the Passport's third year. Meg Howe is the owner of Alice Ever After Books and creator of the Passport program. She says throughout the years, it has only continued to grow.
The amazing thing is that more bookstores keep opening in Buffalo. So every year we have more bookstores on the map, not just Buffalo, even Western New York.
One of those new stores is Afterglow Books. Owner Christina Muffaletto is thrilled to be participating.
It's such a great community, you know, it's not competitive in the least. Everyone's there to help one another and really cheer each other on. So that's been the most exciting part for me, is to get to work with the other bookstores.
If you visit all 12 Buffalo stores, you'll be entered to win a grand prize.
It's a $25 gift card to each of the 12 bookstores, plus a mug, a print, and a tote bag from Tiny Buffalo, who she did all this great swag for our Independent Bookstore Day.
They wanted to include as many Western New York bookstores as possible on the passport, with bookstores located as far as Jamestown, so they decided to include those outside the city as bonus stores.
Not everybody can make those, which is why we made them bonus stops on the passport. We know that for some people it is a barrier to be able to travel so far, but if you're willing to take an adventure and go journey somewhere new, then you get a little reward.
On top of special sales and discounts, the bookstores are also hosting fun events throughout the day, from author pop-ups to performances.
We also have a balloon sculptor coming, so she'll be here for a couple hours in the afternoon. And then we have giveaways and raffles and exclusive things that are only available on Independent Bookstore Day.
An early morning fire on Easter Sunday is taking a toll on several families in Buffalo. The Buffalo Fire Department says the blaze started at 502 Glenwood Avenue and spread to nearby properties, including the home of the Despoff family. The fire caused an estimated $200,000 in building damage and $100,000 to its contents.
We just got our house where we wanted it, our furniture, everything. It's finally made it a home, and then it got taken away.
It's gone. We lost everything. I mean, we have clothes, but they smell like smokes.
The Despoffs say they moved to the neighborhood in November, and they already feel the sense of community.
And to leave this neighborhood, it's going to be hard. Really hard. I've never met so many people that are there for you. I don't want to lose that.
Despoff adds she doesn't want their 18-year-old son who has Down syndrome to leave his current school. Residents on Glenwood Avenue describe the fire as a tragedy. Neighbor Willie Morris says he doesn't want to see the area sit vacant.
Well, we're trying to make sure that we revitalize this community and make sure that this community is good. It was a good neighborhood, it was some good housing stock there, and I'd like to see something replace it.
Protecting and serving those that have chosen to protect and serve is paramount.
A guiding philosophy for now retired Cattaraugus County Sheriff Tim Whitcomb, with his new role as a national speaker and trained counselor on mental health programs for police officers, just like newly proposed state legislation to give 30 days of paid leave to state troopers for time to cope and process if they're involved in shooting incidents where a person is killed or injured, or the Buffalo police appointment of what are called wellness officers to provide support for cop colleagues in need following a series of officers' suicides last year. Whitcomb has this comparison.
Statistically speaking, any person will go through 2 or 3 situations in their lifetime that are emotionally eviscerating, very, very traumatic. So what most people will endure 2 or 3 times in a lifetime, you will endure 2 or 3 times every month you wear a badge.
It causes post-traumatic stress syndrome for some police officers, and Whitcomb says it may affect more than 20% of those on the job and on the streets.
If you dial 911 later, no matter where you are, you have a 1 in 4 chance that the officer themselves showing up to assist you at your darkest hour is quietly suffering from a diagnosable disorder.
Some officers may feel they can handle it by themselves or fear sharing as a traditional perceived strong authority figure. So Whitcomb suggests annual mental health checkups by a psychologist for cops with a color-coded scale.
And every deputy is going to take a survey, and at the end of it, we're going to see what they test, green, yellow, or red. If you're red, we're going to have to talk to you. We're going to have to get you back to yellow. You're going to lose your badge and gun for a week or 2 if you prove that you are a danger to yourself or others, and we can't have you out patrolling the public. The goal is not to take your job from you, it's to get you back to being okay.
The Bemis Point Ellery Paddle Trail in Blue Way is the brainchild of Mayor Jeffrey Molnar.
Yep.
a virtual pathway that starting this summer he hopes will attract new kayakers and canoeists to Chautauqua Lake.
Create some awareness to our rich lake history and also the many fun things that happened around the lake here. And the byproduct is ecotourism.
Blueways have brought in big money, Molnar says, in other parts of the U.S. as designated areas for non-motorized watercraft that support local business when those paddlers need a break.
So you could paddle right up to those and then head to shore and have something to eat. So it's a wonderful idea.
The Blueway and Paddle Trail would be 5 miles long and start here at Long Point State Park, stretch down the lakeshore past Bemis Point into the town of Ellery. The idea is to give people with canoes, kayaks, paddle boards better access to the waterfront, but also preserve the lakeshore.
It raises environmental awareness. It's a place of sense, and probably most importantly, it encourages people to be outside and spend some time outdoors.
Over the next couple weeks to get the trail ready, Bemis will be putting up signs and sharing QR codes of the virtual route to get the word out.
That's why, we stress the QR code, and you take your cell phone out and take a shot of that, and then you follow it on your phone.
And while the trail will be virtual, the mayor says it will amount to real-world improvements, like at the Bemis Point boat launch.
Right where we're standing is going to be the entrance to the new handicap-accessible kayak canoe launch.
And while they're starting with just 5 miles, Molnar's hope is that one day the trail will loop the entirety of Chautauqua Lake. On your side, Bemis Point, Rob Hackford, Channel 2 News.
Tommy Parzamiso is 16 and on the big stage during prime time, beaming with pride and joy as he was given the opportunity to announce the first pick of his favorite team.
After watching the draft back in 2021, he decided this was the wish for him.
He lives with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, a severe and progressive muscle wasting disorder that often shortens life expectancy.
He wanted something that was meaningful to him and special, and something that only Make-A-Wish and the NFL could do for him, and I think he succeeded beautifully.
The family drove 2 days from Buffalo to Green Bay, Wisconsin for the draft to let Tommy live out a dream.
Tommy got to go down the red carpet and show off his custom suit, which he was really excited about.
And he met Max Hairston before the draft started on the red carpet.
He signed Tommy's football. I think that was the first autograph he gave to a Bills fan. Max showed off the custom lining in his suit, which is full of pictures of his family. And Tommy responded by showing him the custom lining to his suit, which was all Buffalo Zubas.
Tommy was there with his parents and twin sister, and they hung out with the commissioner beforehand.
Tommy had been studying the draft. He was pretty comfortable that no matter who they picked, he'd be comfortable saying their name.
A special day for this family.
To pick this wish, to dream big, and to believe that anything is possible, and for Make-A-Wish and the NFL and the Buffalo Bills to show him and confirm to him that anything really is possible. It's a dream come true, not only for Tommy, but for our whole family.
Tommy will turn 17 on Tuesday. A fundraiser will be held for him next Saturday to help him get specialized equipment for his home. On your side, Claudine Ewing, Channel 2 News.